Welcome to the HBCU podcast, and you're listening to episode 34. Now, I know you likely looked at the episode length, but I assure you, we only share really great HBCU alumni conversations. So, if you're an avid listener or just joining us for the first time, here we're joined by some awesome HBCU grads in the form of co-host and guest. We also focus on all the great things HBCU alumni are doing all over the world. On this episode, we speak with Chajuanna Gathers. She's a graduate of Benedict College. Chajuanna is a higher ed professional and the founder of the WE Group, a women's empowerment group based in Charleston, South Carolina. Her organization's purpose is to provide emotional, spiritual healing, overall wellness, and to promote the dreams, visions, and goals of women. During this episode, we discuss her HBCU journey, her career, and her impactful organization. Keep listening. It's the HBCU podcast.
I am Chajuanna CJ Gathers, and I am a 2007 graduate of Benedict College.
BC in the house.
You know.
Chajuanna.
I miss you, Tasha.
I know. I miss you too. I'm so excited you had the time in your busy schedule to be a part of the HBCU podcast.
Me too. I'm really excited about what you're doing. Thank you so much for having me. But again, I am just so super proud of you and just proud of what you're doing. This is a really great platform.
Oh, thanks. Same to you. I always want to speak to people who are also really making an impact in their community. So if people don't know by now, obviously we have a rapport with one another. We go way back to our days at Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and all that jazz. But we're not here to talk about that right now at this moment. We want to know who Chajuanna CJ Gathers is. So let's start off by telling the people where you are from. Like, what's your story?
I'm from Charleston. That's my city. Love my city. I live here now by way of New York. I have to say that I wasn't born here. I was born in the Bronx. My parents are New Yorkers. A lot of my family still in New York. Moved down here when I was in second grade, and I've been here ever since.
I didn't know that about you.
Really? Did you not know that?
I didn't know that. So when I looked at your information, I was like, I did not know Chajuanna was born in New York.
Yeah. So I always say that my formative years where I learned how, when your speech is formed and everything, that was in New York. Because people always ask, why don't you have a Charleston accent? And I'm just like, oh, I know how to do it. Please believe. Because Geechee is all up and through my blood and my veins. But I've been here so long that this is home, and it's always been home. It's where my friends were formed and real relationships that have lasted my whole life, and my family's been here ever since. But yeah, definitely we used to travel to New York multiple times a year when I was really young.
Okay, and so your mom and dad are both from New York?
Yes. Yeah, mom's from Queens, dad is from Manhattan. Father is a pastor, so I'm a PK. Grew up like that. Shout out to all the PKs. Y'all know how that life is. So yeah, they moved down here. My dad was still working in New York, actually. He was commuting. He would come home once a month.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it was quite a feat. But we made it through. It was great though. When he opened the church here, retired, and my parents just settled here. My grandmothers, they both moved here too. So
So none of your family is actually from Charleston. Your grandmother?
My grandmother was born in Charleston, my dad's mom. And when she was 17, she moved to New York. And that was the story. Mm-hmm. After that, she got married, and her life was in New York. And after she retired, in the 90s, she moved back to Charleston, and everybody followed her.
Okay.
To move back to Charleston. Didn't feel like New York City was the best place. Uh-huh. So, I get it. I get the rationale. But yeah, it was really a beautiful life. I don't know what it would have been to grow up in New York City, but I'm really grateful to have grown up in Charleston. It was very different from what I remember it as my kindergarten, first and second grade, and then coming here
Mm-hmm.
was very different. But I learned to love it.
Transition to the South.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Everybody was. I never forget that. Everybody said hello because in New York people don't really speak;
Uh-huh.
they just keep it moving. But I'll never forget that when we moved here, we would just be driving down the street and people would just wave at you, or we move into the house and they'll come over, hey, or you just we didn't understand. That hospitality was a little shocking. Like, what?
Real
You don't know
off-putting.
me? Yeah. Why are you talking? But it's sweet. That's Southern hospitality for you.
True. So typically I ask most guests, how they found out about Claflin, but you growing up in Charleston, I mean, Claflin has roots there. You say that your
Hmm.
family is, in the church. Of course, the university has Methodist roots, but just how
Right.
did you know about the HBCU that you initially chose?
That see, I like the way you put that because I was gonna say I initially started out at Claflin, and then I went on to Benedict. Everyone asked me why did I go that route. It's just my journey.
We'll
But
talk about
uh,
it.
okay. So I always wanted to go to HBCU, and I'm pretty sure you've had other people say this on your podcast, but Different World meant so much to me. And the Cosby
Yes.
Show, girl, those were goals when I was little. Like I knew when I was a young person that me and my sister both like, oh, we doing that. We're gonna be stepping. We're gonna be around all these brown, beautiful people. I mean, we didn't articulate it like that at that
Hmm.
time, but we just knew we had to be at an HBCU.
Right.
It was, and my parents hadn't done HBCUs. My dad had went to college up in New York, but that just was not what we knew. But just seeing that presence on television was everything, and they were like people we knew, like our cousins or whoever. So, so I went to Claflin because I was working with a young lady at Old Navy, and she went to Claflin, trying to pick which HBCU to go to.
Hmm.
My sister went to Voorhees.
Okay.
So yeah, this we was very serious about that. She went to Voorhees, and I selected Claflin. I did some research.
That was after you
Um,
found out Hillman was not real. Or was I the only
oh my
person?
goodness,
Was I
girl,
the
I
only
thought it was
person?
real too. I was so hurt. I was so hurt because I wanted to go to Hillman. So when I was, let me actually backtrack a little bit. When I was in 10th grade, here at Charleston, we do the YMCA did a Black College tour,
Uh-huh.
and I went on the Black College tour, and it was from people from all the colleges around Charleston, Goose Creek High. My college at the time was St. Andrews High School, and it was just everybody from all over, and we're on these 5 charter buses, and we're going all over. We go to Clark Atlanta. We went to FAMU. We went to Miles. We went to Bethune. Like we went everywhere. It was
Hmm.
amazing, and to see that's when I knew for sure there was no question. I will go to an HBCU. Period.
Yeah.
Like there is no question. We did not go to Claflin, but I didn't want to be too far away from my family, so I knew I needed to be at a school here in South Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And Claflin was so amazing. And to go from Claflin to States, that little fence.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Do I know the fence? Yeah.
yeah. So it's like you're at Claflin. It's just like, oh, the birds are singing, and then you go to States, and it's like, oh, okay, it's a party. Like you hear the bass, and you see,
The vibe is
yeah,
different.
the vibe is different. Nothing against State,
Yeah,
nothing
not at
against
all.
State at all, but it's very different. It was just like going to the city
Right.
and being in suburbs.
Uh-huh. That's the
That's
best
how
way I've ever heard it put. Yes.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with either of those two. Some people are city people, some people are suburban,
Right.
but that's just how it was. And but yeah, after that, I made a transition to go to Benedict. Yeah, it was like a personal. I was going through something personal at the time. Remember that summer?
Hmm.
I went through something pretty personal, and I didn't want to go back to Claflin because it reminded me of what I had been through.
Okay.
And but it was good for me though to go through those things. I've been through quite a bit. I think we all have,
Yeah.
but I've had a lot of twists and turns in life. So I I just kind of embraced it and wanted to start a new journey.
Now, out of all the other HBCUs that are in South Carolina, after you decided, hey, don't want to go back there, it reminds me of some things, what made Benedict stand out? Because you said your sister went to Voorhees. You also had Morris that was an option, Allen that was an option. Am I leaving one out? Nope, I think that's...
Nope. I think we're good.
Yeah, South Carolina State, of course.
We already said state. We said state already.
Right.
But yeah, honestly, the choir.
Okay. That's a good reason.
Yeah, and I was not even like, because I know you know, and you were in the choir, Tasha. Well, you were in the concert choir.
I was.
And I was at the gospel choir at Claflin, and I just love choirs and how just the camaraderie of it. I love music, love gospel music. That's who I am. That's my roots. And I was like, you know what? Let me check this out. And I had heard so much about Daryl Izzard in the choir. I said, well, maybe I'll check out the school if the choir is that dope. And I did, and it seemed the process was very easy. The admissions process had seemed so easy, and my transferring the credits and everything. I knew I would lose a semester, but the still the transferring of the credits seemed to be the most smooth of a transition for me. And I liked that it was Columbia and not Sumter, you know, or Denmark. I just, you know, like it's a little bigger of a city,
right?
A little, you know, versus being in Orangeburg, and there's nothing wrong being a small town, but Charleston to Columbia made a little more sense to me. Had some family there too. My best friend, his aunt worked there, and I was like, okay, this is like really lining up to be something that could work for me. So I decided to go with Benedict, and I thought about transferring back to Claflin a few times. I did. I just didn't want the hassle.
Right.
So I stuck it out, and I changed my major then to religion and philosophy.
So with your major, because you changed it at Benedict, you decided to take another track. How much of an influence, I guess, of your family and what everybody has done in the past and, you know, encourage you to have that particular major? Because your dad's a preacher and...
Yeah, that's a really good question. So my grandma, my grandfather, uncle, my mom, all of them were in ministry.
Oh,
right?
Wow. Okay.
And everybody. So I felt compelled that was a calling for me too. And because I felt like it was, I wanted to be an expert in what that craft is.
Right. So
I know that, you know, there's a calling, but you need to know what you're doing. You need to know, understand other religions and understand other beliefs. So it wasn't just about Christianity. I wanted to get an understanding so that I can exegete properly. And I think that the reason why things don't come across as, or might be offensive to some, is because we don't seek to understand others. I can't ever talk to someone else if I don't respect them enough to understand what they believe in.
Right.
So that was my reasoning. I wanted to understand so that I could relate and we can have a conversation, not a debate or an argument, but we can have a conversation. And that's who I am today now. Like my mind has opened a whole lot. I've learned about so many different things, so many different religions and pools of thought and ideals and theologies, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just a study of belief,
right?
But it is all about being very respectful of what people believe, so that you can have a conversation and respect that person totally.
Nice.
So yeah, it was from my family though. My parents have always been very encouraging, weren't very strict, but they wanted me to have a real life so I can have my own experiences. You know, T.D. Jakes has said something that he said that God doesn't have grandchildren, meaning that if your parents have a relationship with God, that doesn't mean that just because that's their dad, that that's your grandfather. No, you need to have your own individual and personal experiences so you can have your own relationship.
Yes, that's
And
important.
yeah, right. So it's only developed if you go out and figure out who you are and learn that stuff for yourself. So that was a part of my journey of learning.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So, with a bachelor's in religion and philosophy, at the time, what were your aspirations? Like, what did you hope to do with that major? And is that something that you're doing like right now?
Hmm. Girl, that's yeah. At the time, I just wanted to be um a great preacher
Mm-hmm.
at the time. And I felt that me expanding my knowledge of what theology is all about, and understanding how to reason and talk through things and analyze things, because that's the philosophy piece, right?
Right.
So religion is, it is what it is, but the philosophy, the reason is coupled with it, because you need to understand how to think critically and understand and reason, because religion can be complex, and I understand there can be rules and so forth, but you need to be able to have healthy debate.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a debate class, and that was really intense. How to set up an argument, and that's why a lot of people who do philosophy undergrad go to law school.
Yeah.
But it's anyway. So that was what I wanted at the time, and then I began, because I even had I was going to Howard. I was going to go to Howard to get my master's of divinity
Uh-huh.
after I left Benedict, but I took another route and got married real early. And I was so young when I got married, um, and but anyway, that's what I had initially wanted. But then after I got into it, I saw so many different avenues and ways that I
Yeah.
could take, and I just loved education, and I
Mm-hmm.
loved the teaching piece of it, and my professors. And um, I mean, one of my favorite professors of all time is Dr. Harry Singleton. I don't even know if he's still teaching at Benedict, but that man made a huge impact on my life. I didn't even know my vocabulary could be that large, but he pushed us, man, and he saw what was in me, and he was not he was very hard on us,
Yeah.
in a good way, in a very good way. He made us into theologians, and theologians are not all preachers.
Mm-hmm.
You could really just be a student of theology
You're
and
educating us
understand.
now.
So I really love the teaching piece. And so while I have not gone into teaching in higher ed, I do work in higher ed now. I work at Strayer. So, but that's a goal of mine. I've always wanted to teach, and I fell in love with it. Academia is so important to me. So,
So yeah,
yeah.
let's I guess stop there. Well, not even stop there, but just kind of like pause it there for a second, because I love what you said about your favorite professor, how he pushed you all, how he just really expanded your vocabulary, and I'm pretty sure this is something that happens at all schools, but I think it's one of those misconceptions that people have about HBCUs, about people being really, really strict on you, professors, being just drill sergeants. Some can be, but how it really just,
Hmm.
shines you up in the end. So what is it like about, I guess, Benedict and the professors that you met there, and then just the education in general, that you think really prepared you for a career out here in the real world?
I'm so glad. Yeah, that's a really great question. I got a chance to see Black men and women that had PhDs
Mm,
just walking around, had lives and husbands and kids, and but they had PhDs and master's degrees, and they had vocabularies, and like they understood how to not to love on their students, but they did not let up on us.
yeah.
Now, maybe there were a few here and there that might have been a little lax. That other people, I did not have anybody that was lax. I'm being honest. I did not. school was not a cakewalk. It
Right.
was that you could play around, and we all had that little moment where you balancing partying or whatever you're doing. For me, I was really in the church, so balancing church life and just time management.
Mm-hmm.
But my teachers did not let up on me. I had to sometimes if I was in Charleston and I had an 8 o'clock class, I would drive. I would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, drive from Charleston to get to my 8 o'clock class because I knew that I could fail,
Yeah.
and it was not a game. It was not a game, and it set me up for to have a good work ethic and to prepare, because I'm standing in front of people who did what I did times two.
Mm-hmm.
So these are PhD professors. I remember my philosophy professor had 7 degrees.
Wow.
Dr. Osazua. Now, of course, you already know. It goes without saying that Dr. Osazua is Nigerian,
Uh-huh.
and he had a lot of degrees, and sometimes that is the norm. That's all. That's how I'm gonna say that.
Right.
But he has 7 degrees. I was like, really? You had time to do all of that?
Yeah. And you know
So
what?
that
You just said that I never even thought of. I just like no one else has ever said that on the podcast or in conversation. But you're right. Like, aside from what we saw on television, or at least because I just want to speak for myself. I don't know everyone's upbringing, but A Different World and The Cosby Show, being at Claflin was the first time I've actually laid eyes on individuals who, hey, Dr. such and such in real life,
yes,
hi, such and such
yes,
MS in real life, or
yes.
MD in real
And they
life.
look just like you. And they
Yeah.
look just like you. That was so inspiring. Like, oh, I can have a PhD. And
Mm-hmm.
that is a goal of mine, to have a PhD.
Nice.
I can have that. And because I saw that, I
Mm-hmm.
saw that every day. I got up and sometimes I went in her office. Maybe I cried or whatever, but she's a human Black woman just like me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at my future. So that for me is just very powerful in of itself. And it helped me to understand that I don't have excuses.
Right.
I can make them, but they're not valid. They're
Right.
not valid. So that gave me, like I was saying, I would say a better work ethic. So my first job out of college, I was in the corporate world. And I don't know if you watch Scandal or not,
Of
but
course.
okay,
Huge
so
fan.
me too, huge. I am a gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you remember when we found out that Olivia Pope's dad was who he was? And he said, "What did I tell you? You have to be twice as good
Yep.
to get half of what they have."
Mm-hmm.
I It resonated with me because my first time in corporate world, looking like how I look with the name Chajuanna,
Right.
that's why I started going by CJ,
Uh-huh.
because my name preceded me, and it was a little challenging.
Yeah.
So I had to, come up with something else, because as I began to climb the ladder and go into leadership, and I'm talking with people on conference calls in Seattle and other cities in Amazon, CJ sounds a little bit better. Sad to admit it, but that's the hard truth.
No, no. And you know what I love about that? I love that you're sharing what's real, from
Mhm.
the real corporate perspective, because that's one of the things we talk about it sometimes, but we don't go in depth about it. We kind of want to, switch it to the side that when people say, hey, you don't have a resume name, or maybe this isn't the best, name to put on your resume, that stuff is unfortunately real.
It is real, and I'm not here to sugarcoat it, and I'm a realist. I did have some challenges, and it sometimes hurt to hear someone judge you, not understand what I've done for the company or for my team, or my productivity, but just off of my name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ashamed of my name, but because I do not want to be prejudged and I don't want it to hold me back, I had to come up with an alternative way or something so that I could advance. So in the work world, everybody knows me as CJ.
Yeah.
Anybody I work with, I'm not saying that I don't go by Chajuanna at times. And I'm not ashamed of my name. But at that time, that I needed that alias. I needed that option.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. So I started going by CJ, and I realized I had to work twice as much. Going back to my reference of Scandal, I had to work twice as hard to get to where I got, to get into management.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come as easy as it did for some others.
Right.
So that happens, and we can't be afraid of the hard work. But going back to Benedict, I will say that me losing all those excuses, seeing people who were maybe not even that much older than me,
Mm-hmm.
some women and men that were in their 30s that had their PhD, I don't have a whole lot of excuses. I need to push.
Right. It can be accomplished.
I
Yeah.
can.
Awesome. So right now you're working at Strayer University. You're still in higher education, and I know
Hmm.
you've talked about how that is important. What is it, or what is your stance on the importance of higher education, and especially in a time where we're hearing so many people, one, complain about the cost of education, which is staggering, but two,
Right.
also the need, or there being no need to, obtain bachelor's degrees and, master's degrees, etc. Like, how do you feel about that?
Okay, I am passionate about it. Especially if I work on the recruitment side.
Mm-hmm.
So I see the ebbs and flows for sure. And right now, when the economy is doing better, enrollments are down. And that's just being honest, because there are more jobs
Yeah.
out there. And a lot of these jobs, which is a great thing for the economy, a lot of these jobs, you don't have to have degrees. Some of them,
Mm-hmm.
not a lot, but some of them, to make a decent pay. However, when the economy tanks or when it's not as leveled, then you see more people going to school, because the jobs where you can make money to support your family or support yourself, you do need a bachelor's degree. So right now, what I'm seeing is a lot more people that just want the accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Not even that they want the job, but they want the accomplishment of the degree. And
Mm.
that is, it pulls on the heartstrings to work with. I'm not saying that the others aren't there, the ones that can't find a job, but what I'm dealing with, like I said, on the recruitment side, I'm meeting a lot of students that have always wanted a degree, or maybe they tried a degree and dropped out and failed, or had kids, or life happened,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're trying it again, and it's a goal that they want to accomplish, so it means a little bit more to them. So I'm seeing I'm seeing them really fight to get through college, just
Yeah.
like we did. For us, we wanted to go to college. I can't even say we wanted a great job, but we wanted to accomplish it.
Yeah.
When you go to, and sure, it's not a traditional school, so I'm the average student is about 35.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at people who have full-time jobs, full-time families, and don't have a whole lot of time. So online options are really, they're really just trying to make it, or they have a dream and want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, and this is a real life goal for them. So I think that it is a huge investment. It is an investment, just like you invest in your home, you
Mm-hmm.
invest in the car that you want, you invest in your business, you invest in education, because there is a return on that.
Now, Chajuanna,
Yes.
ever since I've known you, you've always been like one to encourage, to advocate, to
Hmm.
rally behind people, just basically always spreading your positivity.
Oh, thanks, Tasha.
You just have. And I know you for nothing else. Like, if someone had to ask me that, I would just be like, she's just infectiously positive. But you
Hmm.
recently launched the We Group, which is a women's empowerment group in Charleston.
Yes.
So please talk to me and the listeners about that and tell us how it came about, because I'm actually a part of your Facebook community, and wow is all I can say. Just
Oh.
wow.
Okay, so I'm smiling from ear to ear right now, because this is my baby. I am just so, and it's very personal for me. I'm so proud of it. And what's where it's growing to. So I mentioned earlier that I've been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we all have. I'm not taking that from anybody's experience. But staying positive when going through different experiences, I was like, I think some of these experiences are not for me. I think they might be for someone else
Mm.
or another woman
Yeah.
that I haven't met yet. And I said, because there is no way that I have gone through all of this stuff at such an early age and it's just for me to have. Or that's why people write their books
Mm-hmm.
or they write television shows or plays. And because they know that the experience is going to speak to so many other people. And Tasha, like, I know you know some of this because we know each other personally, but I mean, to come up in church and to even be in ministry, to go through college and to even leave the church, to be married, to not be married, to understand what it's like to be single as an adult and dating,
Mm-hmm.
to understand what it's like, again, to be a young wife, to understand what it's like to be a pastor, to understand what it's like to be a pastor's wife. How not even that, and also to be not be any of those things and to walk away from the church, to walk back into the church. All of these have been experiences that have happened in my life, especially in my adult
And
life.
to be under
Also,
35.
yes, and I'm not even done. Even to try love again after losing love or feeling like you failed at love,
Mm-hmm.
and to try that again, get into a relationship, go through some breakups. How do I manage that? What happens in my career, to lose a job or to start over from scratch, pulling yourself up by the bootstraps? I have been through all of those things, and I'm not even mentioning some of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But to have gone through all of that, there's no way that is just for me
Yeah.
to have as a thought in my head, like, oh, I remember when. There's no way. So this is something that needs to be shared, and because of the wisdom and the positive energy that comes from it and the healing that had to take place, that's the key word.
Mm-hmm.
The healing that has had to take place. I understand the process. So the sole purpose of we is so that we can share. I don't know if you ever heard the scripture that talks about overcoming by the words of your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do, we come together. We have assemblies bi-monthly, and it's for women, of course, and because it's a women's empowerment group, we come together, we talk, we have a topic, and we share. We work through whatever it is. We deal and we heal. And we do that so that we can be effective in our daily lives. If you have a dream or a goal or a vision, whatever it is, you can do that when you're broken,
Mm-hmm.
but you won't be effective in doing that when you're broken.
Yes.
So I'm not saying you can't accomplish it, but you can just be way more productive if you take the time to heal and mend some of those things that you're walking on top of or just trying to live on top of and ignore, because I've done that too. And I wasn't an effective, I just wasn't in a good place when I was ignoring the hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But when you deal with it, it really does help you to move forward. So some of the topics that we've discussed have been like, they hit me first, and that is, we are all healing and talking through these things. So I'm not coming to as the expert, I'm not the speaker. We
Right.
are all sharing, and it's a very beautiful conversation. It's powerful every time healing takes place. I feel like it is ministry for me. It's not just I used to be a preacher back years ago, but this is a different form of what, I've just evolved into something else now. I'm nothing against preachers. I love them. I love a good preacher. I
Right.
always will. However, my path right now is right here, and ministry is beyond the four walls of the church.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what's happening. And we also are involved in the community. We've done some things to give back to the kids. We have given to some foster mothers and grandmothers some money during the holidays. So it's growing. It's only a year old. Next month will be 1 year that I've been doing it. And
Oh,
um,
congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. And there have been some breakthroughs in there, girl. I'm telling you, there have been some breakthroughs. So I'm not going to stop. I see that it is necessary.
So from month
Um,
to month, you guys assemble. You have assemblies, and everything has a different topic. And I'm
right.
my question to you is going to be what makes, the we group different from any other women's empowerment. But that's already one of them. Just monthly meeting with one another,
Oh,
letting people share. Oh,
bi-monthly,
bi-monthly,
bi-monthly.
right. But
Hmm.
yeah, what is it that you can say for sure is different about what you all are doing with your group than any other? Because there's so many other things out here that claim, the whole empowerment movement.
Well, I don't, I can't speak for all of them because I don't know a whole lot of them. The ones that I do know of, I do support if I can be there, whatever they're doing. If it's an outreach event that they're doing, or um, like a girls' night, or sip and see. I don't know. There are a lot of different things that people are doing, and whatever another black woman is doing, white woman, I don't care who it is. Another woman is doing something positive. I want to be there. I want to support that because we have to support one another.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it makes no sense for us to tear each other down, because we go through enough. We go through enough. So I would say that just some of the things that I said about us assembling together, also supporting the entrepreneurs that are a part of the We Group, any of the members. So I have something that's called the Dream Girl Spotlight that we focus on at every assembly.
Nice.
And that's where I spotlight one female entrepreneur that, even if she hasn't started her business yet, or it's just coming off the ground, or it's a dream of hers, she has her time at the end of the assembly to talk about it. And if you have some product, we're going to buy your stuff and we're going to tell people about your stuff,
Right.
just so that it gives you the platform, even if you haven't done it before, to get used to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you can do it here, so that you can put down on your resume or wherever you're writing your whatever, hey, I actually spoke at the We Group and I presented, and this is my start. For example, my mom has always wanted to have a catering company, and she just, bless her heart, she's just a mom and just wants to cook for her family, but she's an amazing cook.
Mm-hmm.
So I have her cook at all of my assemblies. I use her because I'm saying, you know what? You may not believe in what you got going on,
Right.
but I believe in it. So the caterer for this is going to be you every time. It's going to be you. So it
Nice.
puts her in that vein of doing it. So I want us to walk in our dreams. That's the point. And again, we can only do that if we take some time for ourselves. Self care is huge, and heal. So some of the topics I will say, because they've been pretty deep, Tasha. Like it's been a they've been so good.
But I
The
think I
first one,
think that's important though. Like
yeah,
I when I asked about women's empowerment earlier, it wasn't a slight at all. But what I was saying is, so many people do a lot of the kind of like surface type empowerment events, which are great. I love those.
yeah,
But because we're a community of individuals who aren't really, into therapy the way that we should be, we're really not into speaking and talking to one another the way that we should be. That's why I think it's amazing what you're doing with your group, because you guys are getting in depth. It's a safe space for you to
yeah,
share what it is
yeah,
that you need to share. And then you're hearing from people who have either lived through your experiences likely,
yes,
or
yes.
can, give you some real, like a path forward instead of,
That's
girl,
right.
leave him alone. You should quit that job. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You're hearing from people who either been through it, going through it right now, and we need to help our sister with this,
mm-hmm.
you know, or just something, or haven't been through it yet.
Yeah.
So it's so many different dynamics, and then you have some people in their 20s, you have some people in their 60s who are there, 30s, 40s, everything. It's a wide range of people. So people who have kids, people who don't have kids, some of them are married, who are divorced, or never been. It's just never been married before, or um, been sick, or been healed from something. It's just a beautiful, very colorful, diverse group of women with the common goal of healing. And I feel that healing is inclusive.
Mm.
You know, it's not a party that you need to sign up for. No, no, no. We can all get healed. We can all get free, but you have to do the work to do that. So I'm excited about it, and it doesn't always feel good while you're going through. Like, think about it. When
Say
you
that.
break, when you when you break your leg or your knee, I'll just give an example. The very first we group assembly, a we assembly that we had, I my knee swelled up and I couldn't hardly walk on it. I couldn't wear my heels or anything. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't walk. And I was like, what happened? Like, I don't remember falling, but you know what happened? For 6 months, I had been ignoring the pain
Mm.
in my knee. So I felt like this was like a divine thing to show me. You see what happens when you ignore pain?
Yeah.
Talk about that today. When you get to the assembly, talk about this. This is very real for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I ignored it for so long that it got to a point where it crippled me, and I now I can't do the things I want to do in life. And I've been there emotionally. So with that, that topic was overcoming rejection and heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
That one was like a two-part one. We did that one in August, and then when we came back to meet again in October, we kept
It
doing that
sounds
same
like a
thing.
series.
Yeah, that one was, yeah, that was a good one. And we just talked about how when you ignore that and you just try to walk on it and like it didn't happen, it'll come a point where that thing comes up and you don't have control over it.
Yeah. So the
So,
group, is it just for individuals who are in the Charleston area? Like, how could other women be a part
hmm,
of the We group?
that's a great question. Um, right now, it is in the Charleston area because now you can be a part of the Facebook group that I have, and the Facebook group is called the We Group. And I can always, anybody who's interested can always reach out to me and I'll add you to it. And the reason it's a private group, the reason I keep it private is that what if somebody wants to talk about something?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather that not be a public forum or public group on Facebook at this time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're still trying to work out the kinks to see what we can do to expand. But for now, it's in Charleston. The assemblies are not anywhere else but in Charleston. But any community service events that we have or the assemblies, I let people know ahead of time so that they can attend.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, I have some of my friends come down from DC and drive from other places. So if you know in advance that an assembly is happening in Charleston, the next one is August 18th, by the way. So let me plug
Yes,
that.
please do. Plug it.
August 18th. And I'll give you some information about the location too. I don't have the exact address. Sorry for being ill
Oh,
prepared,
no, that's okay. We'll
but
share it all.
yeah, I'll give that to you. But as far as yes, August 18th. And but yeah, for now, if you want to come to an assembly, you can come to Charleston if you have the means to come, or any of the community service events that we have going on. And also, I have a website, www.thewegroup.org. So yeah, every person that comes, I give them a special gift because I feel like we need to pamper one another as women.
Now, I like
And
that.
yeah, just something. Usually for me, it's a nice candle or something that a woman would like or can take home, or maybe it's a journal or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. For the anniversary that's coming up in August, I'm gonna have, I'm gonna go little special
Okay.
for my gifts for those. So I'm excited about it, man. And we always have the food catered, like I told you. This one, my mom is not catering. She's going to sit back and enjoy. Another friend of mine, she's a chef. She wants to bless me with catering the event.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I'm gonna she's gonna do that, and it's just things are really beautiful. Things are happening, and people are making progress. Like, I get text messages like, "Hey, you know what? I've been really working on forgiveness." That was a topic too.
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, I've been working on forgiveness." I remember my friend texted me and said, "I had a talk with my mom after however long it had been, and it was because of the things we talked about, and I just wanted to thank you for that." And those are the moments where you know that there's a purpose behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I can't stop. So I'd love to expand. I think there are going to be some really great things coming in the future. My dad is helping me work on the 501(c)(3) status right now. So
Excellent.
we will see. We will see, Tasha. I'm excited.
I know, so am I. And the it's not even interesting, but the funny part about this is like it's exactly what I see you doing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't know that as soon as I laid eyes on you, but everything I've known and you to be, and over time, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really sweet. Thank you for
Cool.
that. That's awesome. Listen, I don't want to be Ayanla. Let me be very clear. I am not
You
Ayanla.
don't
That's
want to
not my
fix lives?
personality.
You don't want to fix lives?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is what she's doing, because there've been a few one-on-one sessions too.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see myself, I can see how this may unfold in the future, and I'm open to it. I'm
Yeah.
open to it.
And I see you
So
being an individual who will do the work, meaning, have what's necessary to make sure that you're able to, direct and pour into people, if it moves to that level. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, oh
counseling
yeah,
and all that kind
oh
of stuff.
yeah,
You'll do what's necessary to make sure you're the best
absolutely,
at it. So,
absolutely, yeah. Because I already told you I love education.
mm-hmm.
And I believe, because when I listen, go back to what I said a moment ago. When I realized I was going to be a preacher, I was like, oh, well, then I need to get this, and this. I'm not to be a bootleg preacher. I need to be official,
Right.
okay? Like, I'm not out here playing no games. If I'm going to do something, I don't have step. So if it turns to, not even turns to, but if the group evolves to that, something I'm looking into right now is the life coach certification.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
I'm looking into that, and
Yep.
I'll definitely keep you posted, man. I'm
Please do.
excited about. I'm also in school right now for my MBA, so it'll have to be after that. It's just so
Yes,
much going on.
congratulations. I know, so
Thank
much going
you.
on. Well, we're going to transition, but again, everything that Chajuanna just shared here, the website, the upcoming assembly, the Facebook group. Don't worry if you missed it. We'll definitely share all of this in the show notes, and you'll also be able to find it at the hbcupodcast.com under her blog post. So don't fret. You'll have all the information about the We group there.
Yes, girl, I love this.
But I am interested in your HBCU experience, and if you could say, what were the differences between the two institutions for you? Because you had a little time at Claflin, you finished up at Benedict. So for you, what was the difference, if any, between those two HBCU experiences?
Okay, Claflin, and I'm not trying to put down my BC for nothing in the world, but Claflin had a more intense focus on academia than Benedict does at the time for me. That may not be anyone else's experience, but my experience is that the student at Claflin, most of the students, and this was the majority, were very focused on their academics. And while you could play and enjoy and be distracted, the distractions were really they were more slim.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a whole lot to do. I mean, it wasn't as a large a city. Yes, we can go to state and get into what we get into, but Claflin, it meant something to be in honors college.
Yeah.
If you're in honors college at Claflin, then you were something, and you worked to get to that point. It meant something to have to be cum laude and magna cum laude, and that really meant something. And if you weren't focused on your academics, then you were kind of whack, and that was how it was. When you get to Benedict, it's a little more of a mix of, I'll just say, state and Benedict,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. um and I'm not talking about the distractions. Oh, I am talking about distractions because there were a lot. There were a lot. The standards are high at both institutions. However, what I will say is that I did see a little more, the focus on academics just wasn't, we were more in the minority, the ones that were really focused on school
Mm-hmm.
and focused on doing well in school. It was like split. half and half. And I'm not trying to say like Claflin bougie, but
I don't think it's a
uh,
knock at all. I think what you're speaking on, because I don't want anybody to feel slighted by this, is that honestly, Claflin, like she said, the academic is the focus. Our sports team, we don't have football. Those two
true.
colleges that you just mentioned have football. So
Oh
you have
yeah,
dancers. So there's just much more going on
band. We
those
have a
campuses.
band,
Yeah, there's more going on.
and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Not to take away from the experience. Um, it's amazing. The Greek life, all of those things are similar, but Cleveland had a basketball team,
That was.
and they had cheerleaders, and they had you go to school and do your work. Okay, and if you're not, then you just don't want to do your work. Like you really just want to be distracted. But at Benedict, there are lot more things that you can be distracted by. And down the street is Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So we have we have Carolina, we have like Midlands Tech, Allen was next door. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it is a bigger city. So there were a lot of opportunity for distraction there. So you had to be very focused. You had to be focused at Benedict. And even if it didn't happen until your sophomore year or junior year, doesn't matter, but you gotta focus in
Yeah.
so that you can get on through.
Nice.
But I made some really beautiful connections at both places.
So, what were some of your favorite undergraduate memories, and it's any just in general at your
Hmm.
HBCUs?
Oh man.
So many.
I know to narrow this down. Um Man, at Claflin, I'll just say that we had some good times our freshman year. We were so green. We didn't know anything about anything. And we just, gosh, man, we were just wide open and just, yeah, we had some good times and we had each other's back. We had each other's back with the connections. I'll just say were so authentic.
Yeah.
Like just me and you, we didn't spend 4 years at a college, but to this day, the connection has not changed.
Yeah.
So I made some lifelong connections at Claflin that have not ceased to this day.
Mm.
At Benedict, same thing. It's a little different for me at Benedict because I actually um, finished my degree there. So some of the things that were some of my favorite memories were me growing up,
Mm.
becoming an adult.
Yeah.
That was not that was not easy, man. That for me, I had to learn how to adult.
Yeah.
Just learning how to to manage my money and become a real grown person and
Yeah.
cook and all that stuff. That was a lot. And making those partnerships, like if we have to crunch time, it's finals. Girl, I remember crying just because I didn't want to study, but I had to study. It was just a lot. We was all just sitting there just crying because we so tired, but we had to study.
That sounds like
Like,
something I would cry about. Like
right,
not a real issue this big because I don't want to do it.
right. Like, man, I want to go to sleep. I do not want to study right now. I want to go to sleep. And I was just so tired and frustrated. We we all just sat there and cried. So we went to Waffle House and we ate, and then we felt better. We came back and studied, and I remember that day.
Patty Melt'll do it.
Oh yeah, girl, them hash browns covered. So I remember that day we were this was our senior year too. We were running to go take our finals, and we were running late, and we had been up studying all night, and now it's the morning, and we had slept for like a good 30 minutes. Got to run out to go take our final.
Mm.
We're running out. We're in my friend's apartment, and I slipped and fell down the steps.
Mm.
Sure did. Tore my back up. But it was, my back hurt, but it was the moment we needed. Like it was the laugh that we all needed just to like lighten the moment because we were so stressed out and like, are we gonna pass or what's gonna happen? Because it's senior year. This
Yeah.
is,
You got more
I just like,
time.
no more time. This is, you have to pass because you already bought graduation stuff. So there was no question. So we're stressing, we're running, and me fall. I just guess I took the L, so that I could bring us some joy. But oh man, I remember I had to take muscle relaxers behind that. That was a
That
bad
sounds
fall,
like a struggle. So
girl.
if you could tell your 19, 20-year-old self anything, especially, during those college years, what would it be?
It would be, why so serious? Why so serious? Just have fun. I was a very serious 19-year-old. I was super serious. I was deep, girl. Like, you remember, oh man, I was real deep. But
I don't remember you
yeah.
being as intense as you claim, but I think maybe we don't remember because we didn't take crap seriously. So
Right. Well, at 19, that's when I started in the ministry.
Okay.
So not that, and I still was myself, fun loving and all those great things, and had sense of humor, and I was a real person, but I was serious.
Yeah.
Like, man,
a little more intense
girl,
than you should have been at
just
19.
a little more, just a little too intense for me. Like, hey, you want to calm down? Just calm yourself. Just relax. Just relax. Like, you can do all of this, but just enjoy life.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment. That's what I would tell myself. Enjoy yourself and enjoy this moment right here. You do not have to be as serious as you are. But I am grateful for that. I look back at myself right now. I can see myself in my head with the long skirt and the head wrap. Girl, I was something deep walking around that campus. I mean, I had on heels now. I was still cute. But
Facts.
I was and what is it that we was walking around the campus with heels?
Listen, I would love for someone at any HBCU to explain. I think it was just youth, because it's something you didn't really do in high school. Everybody kept it cool in high school, a sneaker, some flats. But in college, for some reason, we were compelled to rip the runway. I don't know what that was about.
Girl, we ripped it. Oh my goodness. I mean, I would go, why did I have on those kinds of heels walking around campus? And right now, I don't need to do all that to go to work.
Yeah.
I promise you I could put on a pair of flats and be fine.
You didn't need to do it then, but we were doing the most.
We didn't play no games. I did not play the lotto when it came to getting dressed for campus. Oh, I'm going to class. Oh, let me put on my best dress and my little pencil skirt. It's not a game. It's not a game. Yeah, that was my grown up. I guess in my mind, this is me being a real grown up woman right now with my heels on, walking around campus, going to the calf. Girl, put on some flats. Like, what you got? That's not that deep. But yeah. Oh man, I miss Nita. Remember Nita?
Oh yes, I've seen Nita in recent years. She still works. I think she still, well, maybe not now, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago, she still was working at Claflin, and you could see her in the calf.
Okay, so the listeners, do you think the listeners know who Nita is, or you talked about her before?
I don't think we've gone in depth about Nita.
we don't have to, but that's a really good memory for me. At Claflin in the calf on Wednesdays was fried chicken day, and Nita was so sweet to everybody, but she didn't take no shorts, but she was still she was everybody's auntie.
She was.
And she would click you in, and
you better have the right sticker on your ID.
You better. But because she loved me so much, knew I went to Benedict, she'd be like, just go ahead in there.
Nita been giving out free meals for a long time.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Nita would let me go. She knew I had a meal plan up in Columbia, but I'm visiting my friends at Claflin, and she was like, just go. So cool. Anywho, those are some good experiences.
Good memories. Okay, well, we're going to get to wrapping it up, because I know we've been chit-chatting for some time now, but we always like to talk about giving here on the podcast, because we truly believe in giving back to our HBCU, something that all of us haven't really caught on to yet, and we really want everybody to. But when it comes to Benedict, what does giving back look like for you?
That it's a little more local. I haven't been back to the school in a while. I think 2016 is the first time I went back to a homecoming since I graduated. So
Hmm.
I don't go back often, but there is a local alumni chapter, and they'll have like crab cracks because we're in Charleston, so crabs is the thing,
Yes.
and seafood. So they'll have like barbecues, oyster roasts, and have tickets that go toward the alumni events. Well, the alumni association, and that's locally. So I'll participate in things like that. I haven't really been as involved as I would like to be, but some of the guys that I graduated with are running the chapter here. So
Nice.
I go, even if I can't go, I'll still send something because it means a lot for that school to stay open for me,
Hmm.
and I know that some of the ways it stays open is when we give back.
Absolutely.
So it's very important. You asking that question makes me feel a little convicted right now because I do need to do more. So, full disclosure, I really I should be doing a little bit more. And now we have a new president,
Yeah. Yeah.
first female president.
First female
I'm just
president.
so awesome. Oh man, I'm just so honored to know that. Like it that really means a lot to me. And I just hear her background that she hasn't been there long enough to say that she's done some things at Benedict because it's very fresh. She just
She's doing
started
big
last
things.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know there's going to be it's going to be remarkable. I know it's going to be things we're going to be talking about for years to come. So, because I was reading up about her before when she first started about all the things she did at the college she was at down in Florida,
Yeah.
and she is a remarkable woman, and I don't know if she ever practiced law, but she just again, like I told you, looking at a woman like that
Right.
who looks just like me
Hmm.
and she has all these degrees and now she's the president of my institution.
Right.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. So shout out to Dr. Rosalind
Artist.
Clark, artist. Yes. She
Yeah.
just, had her inauguration. She's doing major things at Benedict. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If you could encourage a student to choose an HBCU, what would you say?
I would say do your research on where you want to be. I think that we talked about this a little bit earlier, but being in a small town can be really great for some people and it could be a little harmful for some people,
Mm-hmm.
like Denmark or Sumter. Some people can thrive in that environment because, like we talked about, minimal distractions. Some people look for things to do
Mm-hmm.
when they get in that kind of environment. So it just depends on the type of personality you have. If you need to be in a city, or if you need to be closer to your family, or you need to be far away, or anything like that, or you just want to try your hand at being far away, then look at something that is far away, but or like go to Atlanta or Florida or Virginia, wherever just research where you can go and research what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the schools that have the degree program that you're interested in. Not every HBCU has, we don't all have the same programs. So if you know that you want to focus heavily on engineering, or which HBCUs are known for that, which ones are known for whatever, of course, the Mecca and Howard, in DC, like what are they known for? And do you feel like you can handle being in that kind of city?
Mm-hmm.
Like those things are very important. Going to the school, you're going to have an amazing experience. You will. That's not the question. But think about what makes sense to you and your comfort level about being away from your parents, being that, I wanted to be very close, just in case,
Yeah.
just in case I needed to run home. Some people just like, okay, I don't want to be close at all. I'm flying to DC. I ain't coming back except for Thanksgiving. Okay, do that. If whatever you can handle, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also about just doing your research on what that population looks like.
Nice.
But the experience itself, you are going to love it. you're going to love it. You're going to have people that look just like you that are doing the same thing you're doing. You guys are in the same boat and you're going toward this goal together. And then you're also going to have these professors that look just like you that have done what you've done and are now pouring back into you. It's invaluable.
Yeah. Awesome. You guys, this is why I love her. She's a realist. Like, really. No, I mean, we always have people on the podcast and they say really great things and their encouragement is always good. So, if you're listening, your past guests, you had great stuff too. But realist is what I'm saying here. Think about
Yeah.
which city you're going to. Can you handle that? And I know it's a hard thought to think about as an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old. And some of you guys are a little, on the fast track and coming at 15. But make sure you look at those things before you waste time and money, on education.
Very true.
Nice. So what is coming up for you that we should be on the lookout for?
All right, so the next We Assembly is going to be August 18th. The next one after that will be October. I haven't set the date yet in October, but I will. But this coming one in August is the topic, ladies, is dealing with life transitions. And the subtopic is self-care.
Love
So,
it.
and when I'm talking about life transitions, I'm talking about things happen in your life, boom, and now you got to make decisions. Like, oh, okay, this is a huge change. Like, okay, my job is ending in 60 days. What am I going to do? That's a life transition. You got to figure that out. Or boom, I just was served divorce papers. What am I going to do? I just found out that I was diagnosed with X whatever. What am I going to do? So this is real life and it happens. That doesn't mean you quit life. You have to figure that out. So we're talking about, and a lot of people in my life right now, including myself, hear me, girl, hear me, have been dealing with life transitions right up and through here.
Yeah.
A lot of them quick, like boom.
Girl.
Oh, okay. That just happened.
Me
Okay.
too. Me too.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, all right. So what you gonna do about that? You can't break. We can't break. So I want us to empower each other and encourage each other right here. And I want us to deal with it because it's too many people in my circle and just around right now. So I feel like that's the season. Season is transition and shift, and that's okay. So let's talk through it so we can work through it and deal and heal and keep pushing.
Nice.
So that's what's coming up for me. Like I said, 501c3 is coming up soon. Going to have some more events coming up soon. And anything else that's coming up, reach out to me directly, www.thewegroup.org. You can message me through the website and also through Facebook. My name is Chajuanna CJ Gathers on Facebook.
And do you guys have any other social media channels that they could follow?
Not at this time. My personal Instagram is just that. I haven't built one for we yet. It I don't think it's gotten to that point
Gotcha.
because it's a lot to manage the website and Facebook for me right now because I don't got no staff, girl. It's just me. So Facebook and the website are the channels as of now, and my direct phone numbers on my business cards, and I do one-on-one. It sounds so funny to say it, but
Claim
it's a
you
beautiful
gotta
thing.
you gotta speak
It's
it.
happening. It's
It's what's
happening.
happening right now.
It is happening. So I'm just putting it out there. I do the one-on-one sessions too. There's some people who don't want to talk in that kind of a setting, in that kind of group, but still want the um, that healing conversation.
Right.
And we can have those. And like I said, all that I have been through is not for me. So I am open to that. And that's where we are right now. So I think just trying to balance my time and balance where this is going and put some structure around it so that I can so it's an attainable thing.
Yeah. Well, Chajuanna, thank you so much for being on the HBCU podcast. I
Thank you, Tasha.
have been wanting to have you on here since the inception of the podcast and just chat with you about just your whole journey, all the great things you're doing, and especially, your HBCU journey. And I'm so glad you had the time to share.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm glad I had the time to share too. Yay. And I love what you're doing. And you, like I said, that alumni thing has convicted me. I know how huge you are with alumni activity. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go PayPal them right now. So
we're our school's biggest cheerleaders, We're the PR people, so
we are. So thank you for that. You put a little fire under me. I'm going to get better.
Yes. Well, if you guys missed anything, don't worry. You'll be able to find all the links and all the social media channels that Chajuanna shared on this episode in the description area, as well as on the hbcupodcast.com. So we're out of here. Thank you so much for being here, Chajuanna.
Thank you so much. Okay. You're welcome.
All right. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the HBCU podcast. We have so much more HBCU content on the way, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast, and visit us at thehbcupodcast.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the HBCU Podcast. Like us on Facebook. We love you for listening. Until next time.